I'm the Flat Rate Master, and today we're talking about how much do used parts really cost a shop. Now this is a subject that every time I bring something up about used parts or better off using reman parts for a customer, in the comments about budgetary issues, stuff like that. So I understand used parts. The stuff I'm talking about is what does it really cost the shop to save the customer some money? Let's talk about it. Sure, everybody in the audience has installed the same part 2 or 3 times or 4 or 5. It's always fun when it's an engine. Unfortunately, I've had many of those situations. You know, famously, I installed a 3.6 in a minivan and the rockers were messed up and had to swap that one. We had an incident at the shop where we put in a very low mileage 3.6. See a trend. They go bad a lot, by the way. That had like 4 miles on it and it'd been underwater and had a literal dead hole. Technician got to do it again. Now, bad part, tech got paid again. Engine warranty things, usually they got the package where they got warranty for 30 days. So the shop got paid something for it. But a lot of times the smaller parts, which are usually ABS modules, we've had techs install 3 of them and finally had to give it back to the customer with not the greatest pedal because that was the 3rd one and they all had similar problems. Used parts can be really good and really bad. Now, getting into the labor part of it, I talked about the shop having to pay 3 ABS installs, 3 bleeds, etc., etc. And well, they lost money on those, like literally lost money on those parts because they had a warranty it 3 times. Think about that. How many times have you had to partially disassemble an engine because they cut the harness on the wrong side of the plug and the harness was now useless? Or how many broken parts do you have, etc., etc. Often, used parts take so much time. Now, I know there'll be a bunch of people in the comments talking about I'm hourly, it doesn't affect me. No, it doesn't affect you. If you're a flat rate tech and you're paid, it doesn't affect you. But what does it cost the shop? Lost productivity. One of the biggest advantages of used parts is you can get a better margin. And I've seen some stupid margins on used parts. I won't get into that. But it takes a technician longer. Keep in mind, chances are they're not being properly compensated for using that used part. Many times I've said new only because of the common issues and got used. Yeah, because margin. Not because what the customer's willing to pay. Trust me, I saw the pricing of the part. They could have bought new. But I didn't compensate that in the labor. So all of a sudden, I'm having to eat extra labor for taking all the lines off that are been cut, inspecting the part, all that kind of fun stuff. And while it seems like, you know, I'm complaining about that, the problem is that extra time that no one in the shop is being compensated for is costing the shop money. It costs the shop money. Every time a technician has to sit there and take the intake manifold off, you have to order new gaskets, do this, do that. You know, I've had to replace oil pans because LKQ, forklift tying right into the oil pan. Just saying. And it's always when you put it in the car. It's never when you look at it on the ground. So when it comes down to it, especially with the margins I've seen on used parts, yeah, you make good money, but you lose a lot of it having to warranty and repair stuff and fix things. A friend of mine recently installed another 3.6 and it was a year different and he had to change a bunch of stuff to get it in the car and he still has problems. I haven't followed up with him, but used parts aren't always the best. Labor should always reflect when you're installing used parts, i.e. much higher, because we all know how we're getting used parts. It's like they've been dumped in a lake for a month and may have been. That 3.6, we confirmed that it was underwater. So think about that when you're selling used parts. You need to significantly raise the labor for that part. On engines, we normally did long block, which compensated us for however much we had to take apart and put back together. Again, ABS parts and stuff like that. Transmissions, price it appropriately. So hope this was helpful. As always, thanks for watching. I am the Flat Rate Master.